Welcome to a short and maybe messy bonus episode of
RyCanTopMyKnee.
We are back with more mess.
Yes,
With this episode. Oh my goodness. There's a lot to unpack. Who are you?
A lot to unpack. Who am I?
Yes, who are you?
I'm Jonathan.
And I am Kevin. And we are excited to once again review this show, Love in the Big City. We are doing episode 4. It is available to stream on Viki in the US and also on TV ING or TVing or whatever it's called in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Per usual.
So welcome back.
Welcome back.
Y'all.
Per usual, we got spoilers. A lot of spoilers. So if you don't want an upset stomach, go watch the show. So then you won't have your stuff spoiled, okay?
It's too good to be spoiled. Go watch it and come back.
Yes, go watch it and come back. You know what? Someone told me they're going to binge the whole show. And then when we're done doing our
binge
review,
our recaps?
Then they're going to binge our recaps. Yes, that's what they told. That's what they told me. So, okay. I'm
or
like,
you watch along with us episode by episode.
Yeah, but they're like,
awesome that way too.
They've been busy with life. So they're like, I'm going to spend a whole day just binging it. And then I'm going to binge, then they're going to go on a little road trip for the holidays or whatever, and then binge our podcast. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's perfect.
I was like, okay, winning. We love winning.
Get into it, y'all.
So speaking of getting into it, let's start off with how the very first thing we saw was the mama vomiting in the toilet.
I was already so scared. I was like, oh, here she go. She about to croak.
And I was kind of like, sis, this is a lot. And apparently it looked like she got an infection somewhere and needed surgery. And that's the thing with hospitals. Like, and this is why I think people like my mom for a while were really scared of going to the hospital, because of people going to the hospital and getting sicker because of whatever is happening. But she had
her immune system is low, probably, from all the treatments.
Exactly. And I guess she needed surgery. She got the surgery. Once she was out of surgery, her mouth was still mouthing.
Not mouthing.
It was mouthing,
She was still ready to be catty and cute with Go Young, of course.
Right. And then Go Young, I guess he had been watching over her for over a week by this point, like had barely left the hospital. And he got a caretaker for her at the hospital, or caregiver. I don't know which is the difference in this case.
Because he's so ready to leave. He's so ready to be like, I got to go see my man.
Right.
I can't be here in the hospital with you. I need to go see my man.
And know what kills me? She told this lady, because this lady, the caregiver, was like, called her Mrs. Yum or whatever. And she said, excuse me, it's Deacon Yum.
Deacon. I was like, oh my God.
I was like, sis.
You're really going heavy with the religion.
Sis. You know what? I know you got that Bible out and you like out here doing Bible verses and stuff. Girl, calm down. Okay. Calm it down. So
she has to be 1,000%, just like how Goyan is 1,000% in his own little world.
1,000%. And speaking of 1,000%, next when he runs out, he goes to the park.
He goes to the park to meet with Young-soo and gives him a hug from the back. He's like, hey.
And Young-soo is like, wait, not in public. Not in public.
I was like, oh, yup, confirmation. This man is DL.
He's on
down.
the DL.
What I said.
Yeah,
last week I said this.
You did say it. It's true. This man
I called it.
This man is on the DL. He has to be, But
didn't they just make out like at that fish place?
Right, which was out on the street. But maybe because
I was like, y'all made out on Halloween.
Yeah, maybe because it was at night and it was Halloween and people were in costumes already drunk. Yeah, it wasn't that dark, but that's why I'm just confused. Like, sir, you're
now
ready.
It's like broad daylight. Oh, I can't be seen.
Right.
No gay shit.
Right. So it's a little weird. And then this couple comes up. I was like, are these his parents? Because they look kind of parental.
That's what I thought too. I thought they were his parents because he was so shook.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, are they homophobic? But I didn't think they seemed homophobic. But then that one dude was joking. I was like, maybe they are.
Yeah, he's
but
like,
then,
oh, I know you're not the type. Right, man? Two guys walking in the park together, that's gay. And I'm like, oh my God. And this girl's like, apologize. Like,
yeah. And I'm like,
don't call people gay. And I thought she was an ally at first, but I don't know if she was. I think she was just like, why are you joking about?
Yeah, so I'm like,
things?
is this just different levels of homophobia? Because homophobia shows up in different ways, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Like she's like, how dare you say that to him? Like it's such an insult.
right.
And he's treating it like a joke. Like it's two levels of the same homophobic coin.
And Young, comes to save him in a very gay way. It goes like,
he's like,
oh,
yeah, we ate.
We had a brunch date, and he said it in a joking way, but of course, Young Soo was very uncomfortable with that. And in my head, I'm like, clearly one of your friends thinks it's funny, so you could have just rolled with it and just made it into this whole joke.
Yeah. I was like, why are you so shook? And then he reveals, he's like, these are my seniors from
his
this
activist,
activist group he's in.
Yeah,
like he's the president and she's like some top writer. And I'm like, so why are you still shook? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, to me, I was like,
he was so scared to even see them in general.
Yeah, and I'm like, if they're activists and stuff, then why would you care? Like that was
what Goyeon said. Yeah, he's like, all y'all activists, like, what are y'all preaching?
Yeah, so I was like, it was like, this is getting a little bit more sus, But this is when I
told you this man was
sus. Well, I knew he was sus. Remember, I just was like,
yeah. Audience, I told y'all.
Yeah, you did say it, and I said he was sus. Now, I wasn't sure if he was DL, but I did say there was something that was stinking,
I swear he was a liar or something.
Yeah, something was not right. I was like, everything is too perfect, And I remember telling this to an ex of mine, because I remember we're watching a show, and I realized time and time again, when a guy is a little too fine in a show, something's not right.
Not too fine.
Yeah, when he's a little too fine, something not right. And I said, and I was, and this is why I said,
too fine.
I don't go. This is why I don't go for guys that are too fine, because if they're too fine, they're either dumb, evil, or both. So, and
or cheaters.
Or cheaters, right? Well, I've seen some who are not good looking at all that are also cheaters. How, I don't know, but
it'd be the scum of the earth that be cheaters too. It's crazy, y'all.
Right. So something was not right with him, and we already knew it. You're right on the DL.
I know.
I low-key was thinking he was a detective or in the mob.
Oh, not the mob. Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah,
but they were being so cute on the bench. They were like touching pinkies.
I know.
was like, this is so. I don't know. That felt so innocent.
So innocent.
Yeah, he's so scared.
And then back at the hospital, because clearly, before Young gets back to the hospital, he and Young Soo had a whole fight, over this whole thing.
They had a fight, all right.
Yeah, because he was, upset, with all of that, whatever. So he goes back to the hospital after that, and she can tell he is upset as she's out here copying Bible verses, right? And you know what's so funny? My mom also likes to copy. That's how she memorizes Bible verses, so then she could use them for shade later.
No. Not for shade.
Yes.
She said, "Ooh, this quote's good. I'm gonna bookmark this."
Yeah, because sometimes that's the best way to read somebody is with the Bible verse, because there's no comeback from that. There's really no comeback. Like, you're not gonna test God. So
you're going to test God when there's 50 there's like 100 translations.
Yeah, you're not going to test God
of the same sentence.
Right. So go ahead.
She recalls a story that she heard of like some girl that like wrote down Bible verses, copied and like down Bible verses 1,000 times, and God cured her illness. And Goyeon's like, girl, stop, please.
Girl, stop.
It's like, girl, please, like, go off. Like, I don't know.
What it's helping her get through whatever. That's what she needs to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's what religion is for people to cope with.
Right. And then later, while Young is writing, and this is later in the day.
I thought this was a Grinder message. It was like,
it was a car talk. Not Grinder. People don't have Grinder on their laptop.
I don't know. I don't know what the kids are doing nowadays.
Yeah,
I was like, who is this?
Yeah, but it was Katalk. Yeah. And like, I was obviously Katalk. And
I know.
And then it was from Young Soo, who's apologizing. And then, of course, Young gets all mushy and gushy, and it's like
He's like, of course you
he's
apologize.
apologized to
Yeah.
me now. So,
I was
anywho,
like, not you going right back to him like nothing happened.
yeah.
Of
So the next
course.
day, of course, he leaves in a hurry, leaves shit out. His mama finds a notebook with that Polaroid of him and Young
I
Soo.
know. I was like, I thought this will be a bigger thing later, but I thought, yeah, oh my god, that's his like journal of everything that happened, and
Right,
like
and I
colors
thought,
everything.
so I thought she was gonna do a whole. I thought it was gonna be a mess,
I
but
thought she was gonna do a deep dive into this journal, but
right,
she just looks at the photo.
right. So then we cut to them, Young Soo and Young shopping. First of all, I was like, "It's day 22 of their relationship."
Yeah, that was so cute, but that's so insane. People who do like happy 3 weeks, happy 100 days, happy 333 days. I don't know. Does it matter?
Well, I was more shocked that it had only been less than a month.
That too.
I
They
was
just
thinking
got
like it
together.
had been a few months by this point.
That's what I mean. So the whole Namgyu situation was probably also really fast. That was probably also like 22 days or even less. And homeboy was like, here's rings. Like, I
Yeah,
love you
well,
so much.
we know that Namku was going way too fast. That man was on. He was on. What is that called? He was supersonic for real.
Super son. Yeah.
Supersonic.
Hey, but I know. I mean, Goyun took some pointers from him, I guess. That he's like, let's get matching T-shirts.
Right, but at least this is
And
not in like 3 days because I felt with
yeah, it's not in 3
Namku
days.
it was
Yeah.
like only a couple days, and I'm like, damn, we
Yeah.
talking about marriage?
I know, but Youngsu over here is again like being man DL. Like, nah, I can't wear matching shirts. Like, oh, this is so expensive. Like, this can feed us like 10 times over. I'm
You
like,
know what?
are you that poor? Like, you're also, I don't know.
You're not that broke, like, and also
Like, you're in this beautiful loft. You live in this beautiful loft.
right. You're not
Like,
that
you're
broke.
not poor.
And part of me was also thinking, like, I thought, you know what, Young was gonna give Young Soo like a makeover because you know what, he needed to
Oh,
upgrade his fashion. Like, he
he
needed to
comments on
upgrade
it
his
later
fashion.
that he's like, you kind of dress like a bum.
Yeah, he does say it later. Like, actually, much later, because not much later, but very soon. Because after they do all the shopping and stuff, they get to the house.
They go back
Of
to his
course,
place. Yeah.
Young is upset. Shiver me timbers. He like you could tell.
Not
Young was
upset.
like, I don't want the dick, but I want the dick, and he.
I know
couldn't
this
resist.
scene. I was like, "What's happening?" And then I was like, "Oh, I was like, of course." Goyeon likes it rough. That
He
he's
is.
like, "Stop it."
He's like, I'm handsome.
Oh my god, this recreation's nasty.
That's exactly the way he was acting, though. Like for
I
real.
mean, then they do the nasty on that.
On the counter,
that
then
table.
later the bed. You know, they
I
spreading
was
it
like,
all over,
oh,
and then finally,
yeah.
the word-
It be this DL dick that be going on.
clearly. That DL milk, that DL leche,
Oh,
that
oh
DL
my
do
god.
you know
Oh
that's
my
that
God.
if you didn't know that's how you say milk in Korean.
Oh.
Uyu.
And that's what he needed to say in that scene.
Yeah, give me that uyu, you know. That's what he wanted to say. So anyway,
Anyway, after they do the do,
they do the
they're like
do.
sitting in their matching shirts.
outfits, you know, so cute. Couples
And he wants to
fit.
take a selfie, and he's like, no photos. I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable.
And that's when he
And I'm
tells him North Korean spies wouldn't dress like you.
Ooh! I was like, damn, he was going off too.
Oh, that was so shady.
He was like, you're always wearing old, worn, baggy clothes, and
Right.
you carry a bunch of shit in your bag, like useless stuff in your bag.
But oh, that
like, oh
killed
my God, go
me. He said North Korean spies would not dress like you. Lord have mercy, child. Oh my gosh. That was a read. That was a ooh, that was a read. Like he got
I mean, he read him back by being like, you know what? I mean, because he wanted to go eat pasta.
right.
I forgot they talked about wanting to eat pasta.
Right. Right, they did. And he
was
didn't
like,
want to do
two
it.
guys eating pasta? He was like, that's gay. Like, what do people think?
That is so weird because you know what? The amount of times that I've eaten pasta with Korean men.
I'm like, you can eat pasta with anyone. What if it's
Right.
just your friend? You're going to try out a new Italian place.
Yeah.
How is that fruity?
You're right. That means this man is super in the closet because I was like, I have eaten pasta with so many Korean men. All of them straight with the
Oh?
exception of one.
You slurped some noodles with Korean
I didn't
men?
slurp.
All right.
I slurped noodles with them, but actual noodles, and they were straight men. So I've
Got some
never.
ramen with some men?
Let me tell you something. I've only seen in my
Ramyeon?
life. I've only seen maybe 3, maybe 4 tteokbokki in my entire
Oh!
life.
Oh!
In my entire life, I guarantee you that. I can guarantee
Only
it.
3 or 4?
Only 3 or 4.
We gotta up the list, y'all. We gotta up the list. We gotta
So,
make a trip.
because again, most of my Korean male friends are straight. So I've never seen their tteokbokki. I've never tasted their tteokbokki. I don't want to taste their tteokbokki. Like,
y'all, you hearing this?
I'm just letting y'all know. This is the tea.
Kevin needed to be on an episode of this show, y'all. He could have been a background character.
But my point is, I have had spaghettis and macaronis and all of that with many Korean men, and it was never seen as gay. And actually, I don't think anyone cares. They're like, you're eating pasta because you hungry. That's all they think.
That's what I'm saying. Food is food.
It's
like,
food.
are they, opening up a bottle of champagne at the dinner table and
that's happened with me
like
too
a
with straight
violin,
Korean men,
like,
and there's no violin, but there was a bottle of
if they
champagne
wanna-
open. I didn't drink the
If
champagne.
you want to drink, you want to drink.
Right. Like, it's nothing nasty, and it's nothing like a date. They only assume if it's a date if it's a guy and a girl. If it's 2 guys, they're assuming it's 2 guys eating. Like,
They think it's 2 businessmen.
yeah. It's what Young-soo is thinking too deep. And that's how you know he's deep in the closet. Because it's like, nobody cares. Like, they really don't.
That is crazy.
Like, only time they would
He's
care is he's
literally-
out here. If you putting your tongue down his throat in the restaurant, then they're like, oh, that's gay.
That's a little... then that's a little gay.
That's a little gay, Anywho.
Yeah, he's like, do you only want to meet in private? Like, what's good?
Right. And he said
homeboy
yes.
Deadass is like, yes.
He said yes.
I gasped. I was like, ah.
And that's when I said, this breakup is pending. I can
Literally,
feel it.
I was
It's
like,
pending. It's going to happen.
If you don't stand up right now, like, you're really going to let this happen?
And
of course he do.
Of course, because that pipe is being laid.
I know. I mean, after the
laid.
session, he was like, you know what? Maybe I'll still keep this around.
Yeah, that thing is being laid. But then he gets a phone call that interrupts, that moment. Thank God. But also not thank God. Because it's a call from the hospital about his mom. And he rushes
his mom just
out.
had a scare.
Right. And at the hospital, luckily, he speaks to the caretaker. His mom is fine. Thank goodness. And she's resting. But of course, Young breaks down because that's a lot. You're dealing with the DL man who, and your mom is sick, like chronically ill. And that's just a lot,
That's what I mean. Like, he's losing everyone in his life right now.
Right.
Like, oh my God.
Because finally things seem to be going well. Then his mom gets sick. And then you got the DL dick. Like, that's like, that's just
then
a
you
lot.
have this man playing with your feelings, literally.
Right. That's a lot, But the next day, they wake up at the hospital. And this is where I was like, this woman's dying. Because the fact that she gave him her credit card and said, like, go out, take this somewhere. Like, and 2 things were going through my head. Treat yourself and treat your friends or whatever. I was like, she's dying. Because there's no way
right here, I was like, oh, this is going to be her referencing the photo, being like, I know you're seeing someone, like, go have fun with them.
I think that was, like, the undercurrent of that. Like, I think that's what she was trying to allude to because she already knew by that point.
Yeah, because he was like, I'm fine. I don't have anyone. And she's like, go do something.
Yeah, she's like, I know you got somebody in there. I know, because she could tell when you coming in one day you really upset, the next day you all giddy and, acting like a little schoolgirl. Clearly somebody is dicking you down.
Not dicking you down.
Like, I know she was thinking that. She probably said that in a more biblical way than I did, but it's the same thing,
Oh my God. Yes.
So
of course he goes to the club to gaggle with his gays.
Of course he does, in the car.
He's venting to his gays.
And I love how they're like, is the dick big?
They're like, you're still with that fish boy? I was like, ooh, drag him.
Yeah, and they're like, you need to leave him. And that's when one of them was like, that dick is big. It has, and the fact that he didn't answer the question.
He didn't answer exactly.
He already tells
like,
you, even if it's not big, he is. We know he is laying that thing
pipe
down. Okay, that thing is being laid like Michelle Obama's hair. Laid. Okay, it
No,
is
not Michelle
laid.
Obama's hair.
Listen, we already know her and Kamala Harris. Whatever you can say, whatever you want to say about them, but their hair is always laid. Okay,
That bob was set.
the bob is set. The edges are laid. Okay, and they're there. They have edges. Okay, like, and this man is getting edged and laid.
Oh my god. Anyways, yeah, they're all like, you need to leave this man. Like, he's so boring. And he's like, yeah, it's so boring. And then 2 minutes later, he's like drunk calling. And he's like, let's meet up. And he's like, I'm working right now. Come to my place. And he's like, I'm not just some dog that you can whistle and I'll be there.
And then
of course, 5 minutes later, of course he's there.
Of course he's there.
Why are you down bad?
But once he gets there, you know what the thing is? Alcohol is a truth serum, right? And he literally says he misses him all the time and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
He is down bad for this man. Not just the dick, but for the man, too.
I mean, because he's also so lonely.
Yes.
He wants, some kind of close intimacy with someone.
With somebody. Somebody. Okay. And the next morning, he wakes up. Young-soo is writing his manuscript and mentions that he read Young's book and said it was really good. But in my head,
this scene was so sweet. Yeah, right here, I was also like, "Don't read my book." I was like, "Why'd you?"
Yeah, and also
I was like, "Did he plagiarize his work or something?"
Yeah, and not also though. This is what I was thinking too. Was like, that man not gonna stick around. I was like, I already know this relationship is not gonna go this far. Like, I already know that when Young-soo turned over and the way he did his face after that conversation, I was like, this relationship ends very soon. Probably by the end of this episode. That was exactly what I was thinking. Of course,
yeah. There was a bunch of signs of, like, things are not so perfect.
Yeah, things are not thinging. Okay? Only there's just things slanging.
But it was cool that they were both, like, writers or something.
Yeah. They could win together if Young-soo wanted to win together, but Young-soo, we find out later, his mind was somewhere else. But first,
this gagged me. This really gagged me.
But before we get to what was gag-worthy, okay, did you peep the sweater that Young was wearing? I want that sweater because I'm like, I can rock that.
I was not looking at no sweater.
I was all in that sweater. I was like, come on, sweater. Like, let me go find out who made this.
You said, drop the link.
Drop the link so I can drop it on me, okay?
Oh, my God.
But then, he walking around, sauntering, being nosy.
Because Young-soo is sleeping because he pulled an all-nighter for this manuscript or whatever that he had to do for work.
Right. And then he sees...
And of course, Go-yeon's like, let me snoop.
Let me go
open it up.
And then he sees
Let me go see what he wrote.
Right. Well, before he does that, he sees that picture on the desk with this woman, in the picture. And I'm like, is this his mama? Is this an ex?
I thought that was his mom.
Who is this? I was like, this is a little interesting, because they put a lot of focus on this woman. And I'm like, something tells me he's still with this woman.
No, don't say that.
I think I'm right. But
we'll see later.
We'll see later, but...
We'll see later.
But then all that snooping, and then... You want to say it because you gagged... Probably the way I was so gagged. I'm gonna gag some water. Hold on, as you gag.
Oh my God! Yeah, he opens up the laptop and he's like, "Let's see what he's writing." And the first thing he sees is like the evils of homosexuality.
Woo!
And I was like, "Oh my God, this is not what I think it is."
Jesus!
Like I was mouth agape, like thinking that this dude is just like with him for some research paper, and that's practically what this is. Like,
yeah,
he's writing a whole reflective study on
homosexuality and the evils of it, and he's an evangelical closet gay, so the people in that activist group have to be evangelicals, and those evangelical Christians in Korea, they're nutty. Okay, they are nutty. They're nutty butter gutter, okay?
Oh my
Like, they
god!
are
But for a
nutty.
man that's so like philosophical, talking about the universe, like there's no universe in the Bible.
Oh, there
Like
is.
it's only God and Earth. There's no like talking about, our other planets and our place in space and like I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's what he doing, you know. So he's sneaking and freaking and breeding for research. That's
I know. I
such a
was like, is this
mess.
really for research? Like gay for research? This kind of reminded me. I was like, is this Soul Blues right here? Like, is this not?
He is
Didn't
doing
that guy? He was writing like a column of his like sescapades, wasn't he?
yes. But in
Or
this
he
case,
thought,
he's not doing his
yeah.
escapades. He's pretty much writing something that's clearly very homophobic.
Yeah, he's writing
And
some like insider tea on like what it is to lay with a man and stuff like that. I was like, this is insane.
yeah. And I was very shocked. I mean, this is more shocking than a mob storyline, an undercover detective. This is an
Hmm.
undercover gay and an
This is more
evangelical
than a
one.
DL
Yeah, this
storyline.
is
This is way more.
horrible. And I'm sitting here like instant breakup, like immediate.
Instantly run out the house.
Yeah,
Like,
and he did. He got out, and as he was going back, he had a flashback because it made him think of something in his past.
oh,
And
I was
when
like crying inside to this. Oh my
yeah.
god.
And this is when, his mom caught him kissing a boy on the playground when he was in high school. And so she'd been known that he was into dudes.
I did not know. I guess they have this whole history
Yeah. So she
of
had
her
been
like
known.
sending him to
Conversion
conversion
camp.
therapy.
Yeah. To a
Oh
conversion
my
camp.
god.
Wow. And I was like, this is so heart wrenching because I was like, that's traumatic to go through. And
Yeah, and this goes back to that conversation that he was having with Yunsu at his house the other night, where Yunsu was like, "Oh, you don't know what I've been through, like you don't know like my history," and Goyun was like, "What does your history have to do with eating pasta?" But
right.
I mean, at that moment, he could also been like, "I've had such a traumatic childhood too, with being gay and in the closet." Like,
But he didn't say
you know what I
that.
mean?
And it
Yeah,
could
but
be
he didn't say
possible that
that.
maybe he had the same exact thing and he's
Yeah,
hating himself, because of
because
that.
Young-soo is over here like thinking that this kid is just so out and always been so loved by his family and like
Mm-hmm.
everything's all
Mm-hmm.
peachy. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
But
Yeah, I mean he's just like this because he persevered.
right, he persevered and he decided, you know what, I'm gonna live my life. So then um he's back at the hospital and he was low key being a little shady, I think, in this point. Part of
I
me was
didn't.
like,
I
is he
didn't.
being
I wasn't
petty?
on.
Or is
I
he
wasn't sure what this was about. I
yeah.
wasn't sure if this was him being like, my mom's a big Bible thumper. Like, let's have you two meet and maybe I can bring it up then. About
Right.
like,
Yeah, I wasn't
talking
sure if
about
he was trying to come
homosexuality.
out to both of them.
I don't
Like,
know if
make
he
it
was trying
vocal.
to. I don't know if he was trying to out this other guy for writing this homophobic
Right.
paper.
Yeah,
To
I
be
don't
like,
know.
oh, tell my mom about the paper you're writing, and kind of like make him confess right there,
But
or it was like his way to be like, I care about you so much. Are you really gonna do this to my mom? I don't know.
But I'm messy, so I was like, I really want it to happen.
I wanted some kind of confrontation.
I
But
want it
of
to
course,
happen.
this boy is.
But
This
of
boy
course,
did
he
not do
calls
that.
Young Soo and invites him, and I was like, this man not gonna show up. I was like, I was already
Yeah, I was like,
expecting
he's
him
not gonna
to
show up.
ghost,
Yeah,
And of course, the next day at the park, Young is there with his mama. Young
looking
Soo, of course, is a
foolish.
no show.
I mean, this
And
mom also like figured that it has to be a man, like, cause he was like,
yeah,
"I want you to meet someone really important to me." She's like,
right,
"Do I have to?"
yeah,
He's like, "Yeah." She's like,
yeah,
"Okay." So I was like, "Oh, she kind of accepting here. Like, I'm dying. Like, let me just meet my
yeah.
son's boyfriend." You know what I mean?
Right. And I think she accepted it from the moment she was given the credit card. So I think she
Yeah.
was, because I think, if you're on your deathbed, it's like, why harbor all this negativity? Like, for what?
She just wants him to be happy. Hopefully, she just
Right.
wants him to be happy. I know she
Right.
does. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so
Yeah.
then at the
He doesn't show
hospital,
up.
he doesn't show up. They go back to the hospital. Young still texted Young Soo after being ghosted. Clearly, this man is a hopeless romantic.
I
You
mean, I guess
know.
maybe it was like a couple days later. He's like, "Oh, my mom. Oh, my mom had another like drunken
Yeah, it's been a
like
couple days.
episode.
Right.
Sorry, I couldn't get back to you." I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "You're so phony. You're gonna bring up your drunk mom as an excuse."
Right. I
I
was
was like,
like,
this is such an excuse.
It was a whole excuse. So
And he's like, let's go meet up for pasta. Like,
and they finally do it. They finally do it. And
this whole net scene.
Oh Jesus! Like Young-soo reveals that he's moving to the U.S.
And I was like, oh, okay, you have a job, okay.
And then he said
like,
he's going to be there with his sister. And I was like, that's that girl in that damn picture. And I bet you that's not his sister. I bet you that's his girlfriend or his wife.
Clean. He would have came clean fully if it was everything else.
He wasn't going to do that because he didn't come clean. He said, because the next thing he says in the same breath is, I hope you find a good man, or better yet, find a good woman. Clearly.
Right there gagged me. That gagged me.
Clearly, that woman is not his sister. That is his girlfriend or his wife. I'm 100% sure. I feel like
he would have said it, though.
I don't think he would have said it.
What's he got to lose right there? He was right there clapping at,
I don't think he would have said it.
He's already digging the knife into Go-Yeon's heart. He could have said, I have a wife and I was just using you.
Well, probably his girlfriend. That's what I think it is. Or someone that he feels as if he needs to be with. Like he needs to marry to keep up this facade of being straight,
And what, you think he's just in Korea on a research trip?
Probably.
On a gay research mission trip?
Right.
I don't know. This whole scene,
or maybe this girl moved to the U.S. like before him, and he had been telling her he's going to meet her later. Yeah. But I have a feeling that this girl is not a sister. I could bet money if I gambled.
Oh my God. I feel like they would have told us. They would have revealed it later on.
This man did not tell a lot of things because he was someone who was hiding a lot of stuff. It was more of Young found out. That's the thing. Like everything with this man is like he ends up finding out because this man is so DL and guarded,
this whole scene, it looked like he was like trying to like lie to himself. He's trying to like convince himself too. Like he had this like evil look on his face, but like when he went to go step away, what goes first? He's like, "Oh,
what did you think we were?"
Yeah, what did you think we were? What did you think this was?
The way I rolled my neck, like
I would have flipped that table right there.
The table would have flipped. I would have done a Teresa Giudice right away, and called him a prostitution whore right away at that table. 100%. Oh my goodness! Like
I was gagged.
I was really like, no, he didn't.
And he goes to walk away. And I was like, not you walking away from me too. Like,
right.
You getting the last word in too? Nah.
And when Young got up and grabbed him and threw that punch, which
I thought he was going to kiss him.
No, I knew he wasn't. I was low-key hoping he was.
Imagine, I thought he was going to kiss him to be like, I'm going to out you in front of this whole fucking restaurant since you want to be so, Like but yeah, instead he punches in and he's like screaming in his face like, how dare you?
Right, and the wait staff had to pull him off of him, and then but peep how Young-soo's
face.
He was shocked, and he
looked ashamed too. He looked ashamed.
He looked embarrassed. He was embarrassed. He was shocked, and also you could tell that his heart was broken. But he also knows that he did that to himself. It was in that moment he realized, I fucked up. I fucked this up. And, I was, that was I feel as if one of the most dramatic scenes in the show. Like, up there with finding out Namkyu was dead. Like, it's up there, And I was man.
I love a gab-worthy dinner.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn, Young really knows how to pick him. Like
I know, right? Like boyfriend number 2 is fucking you over here.
Right. Well, this is number 3. Remember, there was a number 2 that we didn't really talk too much about because he was like an Instagram. That was a flame. It was an Instagram hoe or whatever he was. So yeah. But anyway, back at Young's apartment, which we had not seen in a while because he was always at Young-soo's place, getting his hole dilated or whatever.
Ooh. So, oh my God. But now's not the time for that because this scene, at first I was like, oh, he's just getting ice for his hand for the punch.
But it looks like he's getting ice.
And he's like
water.
Popping some like, I thought he was getting some like ibuprofen from the cabinet.
That's what I thought too.
And then it just cuts to black. And I was like, oh, my TV turned off? Like I was deadass like, what happened?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed his body taking pills like more than like twice. You know how sometimes you have to take 2 pills for whatever it is? But it was at least 3 or 4 times. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. I was like, he's trying to OD.
No.
That's what he's doing. And then we cut to him at the hospital. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, he tried to kill himself. You know, he literally tried to unalive himself.
This show is getting darker and darker, Kevin.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
What have we done to ourselves?
We're only halfway through the show. Like, this is episode 4. We got 4 more after this.
Literally, this is episode 4. I don't get people who binge this. This is so heavy to binge.
I would binge it. I mean,
you need time to process this.
You know, there's a whole nother show.
I mean, like this show. I know, but this show feels so much better when you have time, when you have space
to process,
to digest all of this. Because if you're flying through this, like 10 minutes ago, you just saw Nam Yu die, and now you're seeing this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no time to process.
It's a lot. And I guess, what did you think about what the mom said to him when he woke up in the hospital?
At first, I was like, I was like, that's not what you need to say right now. But then I like thought it over, and I was like, oh, she's saying like, don't try to kill yourself because we're all gonna die eventually. Like,
right?
Don't don't kill yourself.
Yeah, let death come when it's your time to come. Not you try to.
At first, I thought she was being like, "Don't try too hard now." Like,
right? Like she said it. The way she said it was shady, but it fits her character. You know?
Yeah.
Because everything that comes out of her mouth is chaotic anyway, so it made sense. And then I love to see how his friends were there, and I was like, these are some good friends, because
I was like, these friends are being so extra in the waiting room over here screaming through the window.
As expected. They were also chaotic in their own way.
They're like, girly.
Yes.
Like,
but friends who show up like that when you're at your lowest point, you know, they're going to be your friends forever. Because that's when, you know, they're really down with you through thick and thin. You know, and they got his back for real. He has some good.
Even the mom
friends.
kind of smiled. She was like, oh, look, he has people.
Yeah. And that's why
like he's not alone.
I think she knows she's dying, and she is
just accepting like
who he is, and is happy to see that when she leaves, he's going to be okay. You know, and I love to see the little heart sign he made to his friends.
Yes, the little finger heart.
And they did it back.
So cute.
And they did it back to him.
At first, I was like, "What is he lifting his hand?" I was like, "Is he gonna do a little limp wrist?" A little limp wrist moment? Like, "Hey, girls, hello, how you doing?" Hello, Wendy Williams.
But no, instead I just was.
He does a little finger heart.
Yes, and I really love this friendship so much, like. And that's, I have to admit, this is also too, aside from his mom, which you know, they have a very chaotic relationship, ups and downs. His friends are pretty much his safe space, you know. And that's what everybody needs. That's why, you know, this show is telling us, despite how unfortunate his experiences have been up until this point, he has friends that have his back, you know, and I think that is extremely important, you know. One person I wish we saw was Mie.
That's what I'm saying. I really wanted her to appear in this episode. That's why when he was first calling someone to be like, I have someone important to show you. At first I was like, oh, maybe this could be Mie. Like, maybe he's like switching it up.
I knew it wasn't
like,
gonna be
I need
her.
to talk to Mie. I know, but I was like, I want to see her again.
Yeah.
She needs to come back.
She needs to come back.
Go Young is going through it.
Yeah, he's going through it, and Mie is also a safe space for him, but I think she might be in her little love bubble with her man or whatever.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't want to disturb her in her,
you
know, her hetero, you know, white picket fence in a dream, you know.
Right. He might need to, though. I don't know what's happening.
He might need to next time he about to kill himself.
Right.
Oh my God.
He might need to. So then, I don't know how much time passed by the point he gets back home.
It's a year later.
It's a year later.
Steven looked it up. It's a year later.
Okay. So, and I had a feeling enough time had passed. So a year had passed, and he receives a letter from Young-soo. And I think by this point, he is mostly over Young-soo because a year has passed. And I'm sitting here like, he sent a letter. And I mean, granted, it was a nice letter. And I think...
But he sent his manuscript along with like a little letter.
Yeah, the letter I think was more important than the manuscript in my opinion. Like,
But it looked like the title of the manuscript was like, what is it? A rockfish and something something. I forgot what it
right,
said.
something
Like
like
maybe it
that.
was like about their time together. So I
Right.
was like, is this the homosexuality is a sin manuscript? Like, is this
I
the
don't think
same
so.
book or is this
I think it
something
shifted to
else?
something else, and I'm hoping we find
Yeah.
out maybe in the next episode if it is, because I low key
Mm-hmm.
was wanted to read it, but I had a feeling he wasn't going to read it. But I'm glad he read the letter, because I think the letter gave him the closure that he needed to say, you know what, the door is closed. I never want to see this man again. I don't
I
want to
know.
see a
Fuck
man
this
like this man.
man.
Right. Because
Mm-hmm.
the way Young Soo did him was bad, and Young Soo feels bad, as he should. And you're in the US doing whatever you're doing, probably, sleeping with your wife and also sleeping with men on the side or whatever you're
Oh my
doing,
god. I
you
mean, yeah,
know.
he was like the letter was just being like, "Hey, I hope you're good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry for what happened. I was a coward.
Yes, he
Like, I
was.
hope this is the closure you I hope this message, like helped you with your closure and also helped with your own writing,
Mm-hmm.
Cuz he
Mm-hmm.
knows he's been writing about like his love life and his experiences, I guess.
Right. And I think, you know what? There's a little bit of a parallel here. Remember when Young-soo was younger and with Namkyu, the reason why he
Mhm.
didn't get with Namkyu was because he was a coward. And now
I know the role reversal,
the role
except DL
reversal.
edition.
Yeah, and the difference is, despite the age difference between let's think about this here.
Oh yeah, you think Namgyu is older or Youngsu is older?
I think Namkyu was older.
Probably Namgyu.
Yeah, but I think what I was thinking is the age difference between Young and Young-soo, but Young is the one who's more mature.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
because I feel this is maturity is when you get to a point where you're honest with yourself and you know
You're
when you make
comfortable with
mistake and you're
yourself.
comfortable with yourself. And when you make mistakes, you go ahead and you make the changes, you apologize, you make the changes to do better, right? And Young-soo was not ready for that. And Young was already there. And sometimes you got to meet with
Mhm.
someone who's at your level. And, some people see that as like, oh, like social status, whatnot. It's like, no. At your
No, but you
level,
can't
when it comes to
literally.
emotional maturity, and yeah,
Yeah,
like that level. Because if you're not, the age is one thing, right? But if y'all
but you
not at that
can't
same level,
regress back into being in the closet or something,
right,
back into wherever.
right, you got to be at the same place. And if you're not at the same place, it's not, there's going to be some struggles and it's not going to work out in the way you need it to. Um,
Mhm.
so anyway, back at the hospital, definitely we can tell mom is in intense chemo because now she has a scarf around her head.
Yup, yup.
Um,
But it looks
she,
like she's like clipping like
yeah,
another newspaper
come on,
article for
scrapbook queen.
Gohan's writing.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay,
I guess
so
he won another award or like another column got like I don't
right.
know.
So she's
I didn't
fully
read anything.
accepted. So we can accept that
That
now
he's a writer.
he's a writer and that he's gay. And I guess we can assume that,
Yeah,
he's
I'm like,
out
isn't he
to
writing
her.
kind of queer,
Yeah.
like literature? So I don't know
Yeah.
what she's reading, or she's just clipping like, "Whoa, he won another award. That's
Yeah,
my
I
man.
think
That's
she
my
has to
son."
be reading it, and either way, she knows because in that book, she still had that Polaroid of him and
Yeah,
Youngsu, so she knows for a fact that this, like, she's well aware he's gay. He may
she
have
knew
come out
who
to
he
her
wanted to.
already, and
Yeah.
even if he didn't, it's already understood. So there's nothing more that he needs to do at this point. They go to the park, and he had that manuscript. Notice how he tried to put it in recycling. He was like, "Nah, fuck that, throwing it in the trash."
Yup, he said, "Burn this shit,
Right.
please."
And that was symbolic because he's saying this chapter is closed. It is closed.
Yes, be done. Wash your hands of this man,
Right.
please.
But he didn't wash his hands right away. He and his mom are lying on the grass, talking, and
Had
just
a beautiful
vibing.
moment.
And he starts humming that song by Leon Ha, and that's the album
The
that
same
was.
song.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And his mom was like, "Oh, that's." And
she's like, this shit old.
Yeah, and she starts singing it as well. And you could tell just the fact that he was humming that song, there's still lingering feelings for Young-soo. But I'm going to say this.
But I think he moved on. Because remember, he was like, moved on. She was like, how do you know this song? And he was like, oh, it was from when I was studying the universe. And I was like, ooh, I love that line.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so he moved on. But you know what? I think even if you move on for someone, there's always going to be a little piece of them left in you. Like, even though you don't want to see them again, you're still going to hold on to the good times, you know? Doesn't mean that you want to be back with them. And he shouldn't go back to him, like, ever.
But you're going to think of him every time you listen to that song.
Right.
Definitely.
And I think that's okay. That's healthy if you realize, like, you know what? Look at it like, I had a good time for that time in my life. And it doesn't mean I need to repeat that and bring it back, you know? Like, that was good in that moment at that time. And that was the end of the episode. What did you think? What were your final thoughts?
That was a beautiful episode. Beautiful.
Yes.
It was another roller coaster. I was like, it's getting darker and darker. Oh, last episode we got a little bit of a break because, you know, it was like a new budding romance. But now we're like, for sure, next episode, Mama's gone. Like, it's gonna go.
I think scared. We knew she was going to pass at some point, and I definitely think that's going to be, I don't think it's going to be the main focus, but I think it's going to be the main driver for how he reacts to a lot of whatever is going to happen. Who knows?
To the final man or whatever in the story.
Yeah.
Maybe the endgame boy.
Maybe.
Which I haven't seen. I know nothing about this show. I'm going in so blind, and that's the
way we should. We don't want to go in knowing much. You know, all we know is that the show is good, or at least that's what the people are saying. You know, we're hearing what the streets say, and it is. So far, it's really good. You know, because the streets have said the same about some other shows that, you know, like we are, and yeah, but this is a very different show from that in many ways. And I'm excited for episode 5. Like, I'm scared, but I'm excited because I don't think it's going to be a happy episode at all.
I know, I'm scared, but stay tuned, y'all, for our next recap of Love in the Big City.
Yes, and that is it for all of this mini episode or bonus episode of RyCanTopMyKnee. If the man is too fine, knee them up top to see what their weakness is.
All right, work. I said, hope the Young-soo in your life tops your universe.
No,
just one more time.
Cut that man out.
Just one more time, because the D was fire, apparently. So just one more time.
So that sounds like a friend with benefits. Leave it at that. Anyway.
All right, goodbye,
bye, y'all.